Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic government in exile, Simon EKPA, has petitioned the United Nations, the United States of America, the European Union, and the International Criminal Court, calling on them to adhere to the expiration of the 1914 amalgamation of Nigeria. This is the news on InfoGist TV. Now, in a 7-page petition he filed on Friday, the Finland-based leader of the IPOB Autopilot Group said, going by the terms of the Amalgamation Treaty, Nigerian state has ceased to exist, and on that basis, such existence should be renegotiated. According to the Biafran agitator, called on the international communities to allow the Southeast region to exit Nigeria peacefully since the union had expired. EKPA, who lamented the continued political exclusion, economic neglect, and other injustice being experienced by the Igbos in Nigeria, said the Igbos have made up their mind to leave Nigeria at all costs. We wish to inform you that the Frederick Lugard amalgamation of the Southern and Northern Protectorate into one Nigeria, which took place in the 1940 to last 100 years, has expired, the petition reads. And I quote, "The amalgamation agreement having expired, we, the indigenous people of Biafra, the Biafra Republic government in exile, wish to peacefully and bloodlessly exit from Nigeria to restore our independent sovereign state of Biafra. Since, because of all the gross injustice, human rights abuses, tribal supremacy, fanaticism, exorcism, and class bigotry that have bedeviled Nigeria, the indigenous people of Biafra are determined to exit Nigeria," the petition reads. Now, EKPA also called for the United Nations to provide referendum to decide if the Southeast wishes to remain in Nigeria, insisting people of Igbo extraction have been killed recklessly in Nigeria and the current union possesses an external threat to Biafrans. Now, in the memo that was sent, and I read, it said, "We wish to remind the old Eastern region Biafra elites that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra and the Prince of Igbo land, is still in captivity against the rulings of all courts in Nigeria. Do you think that only Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the captive? Have a rethink. 95% of the resources that fuels Nigerian's economy today comes from the old Eastern region. So why is it that the old Eastern region is the most improvised and least developed of all the regions in Nigeria? Why are there no functional seaports in the entire Eastern region? Easterners are systematically discriminated against all over Nigeria. Currently, their businesses are targeted for sponsored terrorists, haters, and political bandits. The elites have left Eastern Nigerians unattended to. It is extremely difficult to be in the East and do meaningful, profitable business due to high overhead costs resulting from systemic discrimination. Now, Easterners dominate import and export trade throughout Nigeria. However, the seaports are willfully shut down. Why are the Calabar, Port Harcourt, and Onne seaports closed? What stops the dredging of Oguta Lake, Orashi River, and the rest of them rivers and the Tribunal rivers in eastern Nigeria from being dredged and channeled to the Atlantic Ocean, thereby creating multiple seaports in East Nigeria? Furthermore, none of the airports in the old Eastern region can be internationally connected directly. Who are the most international travelers from Nigeria? Easterners are the most internationally traveled people in Nigeria, many of whom are Eastern elites. Why then are Eastern elites turning a blind eye to this wanton discrimination? What are Eastern elites doing to the future of their children and future generations? Your present actions or lack thereof will determine your story for posterity. There are no good highways connecting parts of the Eastern region with each other and the rest of Nigeria. There are neither running water, electricity, nor functional hospital in the Eastern region. One of the Igbo illustrious sons recently received a jail sentence of 10 years in Biafra over 2 decades in public service, supposedly representing his people in Nigeria. He was arrested in Britain while seeking medical attention for his daughter, who needs a kidney transplant. Ironically, he never built or influenced the building of a standard hospital in his community to take care of his constituents. He is just an example of many allies who neglect their communities and/or their constituents but travel abroad for medical treatment. However, their improvised constituents are left to suffer from medical attention. Now, the people of Eastern region are continuously suffering, taunted, traumatized, and victimized inside one Nigeria. What are the Eastern elites doing about it? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu highlighted to you the need to fix the old eastern region, Biafra, because we are one people. He said that if the power that be in Nigeria are the reasons why you all seem powerless and clueless on how to improve the lives of your people, then the eastern region, Biafra, should exit from Nigeria through a peaceful and bloodless referendum supervised by the United Nations. Your response was, Okwa asiemeya, Eastern elites, kedu ka esiemeya. Your illustrious son, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who did nothing wrong according to any law to man, was kidnapped, extraordinarily redetention to Nigeria, mocked and thrown into captivity. After several trials by Nigerian courts, he was vindicated and absolved of any wrongdoing. As I write to you, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still in captivity, and you all continue to maintain a defending conspiracy silent. Why? A case was made to the ECOWAS court for the Biafran referendum and justice for the killing of your children by Nigerian forces in Operation Python Dance 1 and 2. We want to know the status of the case. The case was made at the same court for Fulani terrorist group of different persuasion, and the same ECOWAS court awarded them some billions of naira to stop committing violence in Nigeria. What compensation did your children receive after being slaughtered in droves by the Nigerian state? Let this letter serve as a call and demand that through the old Eastern region allies of all disposition and persuasion must rally around and organize yourself for immediate release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It is incumbent on you to bring out the innocent, illustrious son of Biafra land, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, from captivity. You must all free all Biafran activists who were locked away in several dungeons in Nigeria. No Fulani terrorist is in jail in Nigeria, so why should your own children be perpetually detained without due process? Using your allegations, both state and federal, to address the infrastructural decay and lack, so that your children can come back home and do their businesses with dignity and not be taunted, harassed, and killed by people who they are more intelligent and progressive than. We are extending an arm of cooperation to you to address these issues. We expect that you take this hand of cooperation extended to you and run with it to solve these aforementioned issues. If you do not, it will not be business as usual. Here are 5 basic things you need to know about the agitator Simon Ekpa, the supposed prime minister. Simon Ekpa, a Nigerian Finnish lawyer, political activist, and former athlete, was born on March 21st, 1985 in Ohak Chukwu local government area of Ebonyi State. Now, in 2003, Ekpa won a silver medal for Nigeria in 100 meters in the African Junior Athletic Championship in Cameroon. The arrested pro-Biafra agitator has lived in Lahti, Finland since 2017. He is a member of the National Coalition Party of Finland and was a candidate in the 2022 Finnish country election. Now, Ekpa gained visibility after he became the lead broadcaster for the Radio Biafra after the arrest of IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He was later relieved of his duty after he was said to have breached the organization's rules. And finally, the separatist agitator, was known for his allegedly inciting and inciting violence in southeastern Nigeria through his broadcasts and sit-at-home orders. That's all we have for you today on InfoJet.